Good morning, everyone. As promised, exactly at 3 minutes past 10, we will start our demo. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Yes, I can see the tech guy saying that everybody can hear me. Well, welcome on this beautiful Tuesday, where I will give a demonstration of the uMarketingSuite functionality. A few short slides to introduce myself and the uMarketingSuite, but then we will swap over to the demo really quickly. Well, you can see me at the moment. My name is Jeffrey Schoemaker. I'm owner of Perplex Digital. It's a Dutch-based Umbraco Gold partner, and I'm the co-founder of the uMarketingSuite. Today we're gonna demo what we have on the uMarketingSuite at this moment. At the end of this session, we will have some time for questions. Please use the chat functionality within Zoom to ask these questions, and at the end, I will take a look at them. And also, after the demo, we will give you access to the demo environment of the uMarketingSuite, so you can play around with it yourself, demo it to your colleagues, ask questions, etc. And most importantly, we need your feedback on this project. We've been working on it for almost even more than 12 months at the moment. And we really think it's going to be, or it is already a really good product. But we need your feedback to make it even better and maybe adapt it to your use cases for your clients as well. As said, it's an exciting day. Really brief on the uMarketingSuite. So one slide about the technical architecture of the uMarketingSuite. First of all, we have the Umbraco CMS, and probably you've built your website upon Umbraco. Well, and the uMarketingSuite is nothing more than an extra layer on top of your website that enables all the functionality. And within the uMarketingSuite, we have data analytics, we have A/B testing, we have personalization, profiles, and at the end, we will have marketing automation on top of that. So you should consider the uMarketingSuite just as a layer upon your website. You can add it in a later stage. You can remove it if you want. It won't break your functionality, and it isn't deeply integrated into your website unless you want. What we're gonna show today is analytics and A/B testing. And important about the analytics is all data will be recorded server-side. So instead of Google Analytics, for example, we will use server-side technology to store all the data. And you could think about the time that somebody visited your website, which pages, the type of browser used, the device type, events, anonymized IP addresses, etc. And we also include a client-side script that you can choose if you want to use that or not to record some behavioral data. It's just a one line of code you should add to your website, and we will track with that the scroll depth, engage time on page, video views, searches, clicks to other websites, etc. And most importantly to know is that all data is recorded at the moment within the demo website, but also if you install your package. But not everything is visualized at the moment. We're working really hard on that to visualize it as well, so you can see that all the data is recorded. But please know that everything is stored and will be visualized in the next few sprints probably. If we look to A/B testing today, we have 3 types of tests that are currently already working. It's a single page test, multi-pages test, and a document type test. At the demo, I will look into these and explain a bit more. So, without further ado, we're getting ready for the demo. The demo will be on the Vendor demo store. Vendor is a new web shop for V8. important to know, the uMarketingSuite will only work for Umbraco 8 websites. And we will demo it on their demo store. So if I close this and share my browser, then probably you will see my browser at the moment. Yes. If you haven't seen the demo store, it's just a demonstration of a website. It has a homepage, and there's a product overview. It's a kind of a web shop. And if you click on one of the products, you go to a product detail page with some information. You can push stuff to your cart. Then you get at a checkout or at a cart page, and you can check out. And if you click checkout and wait a second, you will go to the checkout. Well, there's nothing we've built. This is Matt Brailsford, the excellent guy behind Vendor. But we're going to use this website to demo it. If you go to the back office and you log in, you will see a normal Umbraco website. Just a content tree with notes in it, products, etc., pages. In the top bar, we see a commerce section. Well, that's actually made by the people of Vendor, so we're not going to look into it. But what is more interestingly is the marketing tab, and that's our tab that we've created with all the functionality that's going to be implemented within the uMarketingSuite. At this moment, the dashboard is quite empty. It will be filled before the release. But what you see here in the top menu are all the different sections within the uMarketingSuite. First, we have analytics. We will look into it. A/B testing, but also for later on, personalization, profiles, campaigns, marketing automation, and even email and SMS. Those are not enabled at this moment, but will be in the future. If you click on one of those sections, you will get into the functionality. Here we have analytics, we have A/B testing, but let's first look at analytics. In analytics, we have a graph of all page views that have been recorded lately on this demo website. You see that I've been testing quite a while on 8th of April and the 10th of April. And we see a list of all pages that's been looked to. You have the ability to select another date range, like something like this, or even custom date ranges. And everything works. At this moment, in this version, we only visualize the page views, but you see that everything that's recorded, like referral traffic, device types, search words, events, bots, exits, location, unique visitors, time of page, and bounce rate, are all recorded already in the database. As said before, we only need to visualize it. Before we go to A/B testing, let's take a short look at the settings. Here you have some configuration option. At this moment, only the goals, but we're working on the customer journey and personas. But for this moment, look at the goals. Because we need goals to get the uMarketingSuite working. You can't do any A/B testing without goals, because if you create different variants of your website or your web page, you need goals to measure which variant is working better. So goals is a really important part of the uMarketingSuite. At this moment, we already have some goals. We're Dutch, so some of the texts, some of the setup goals are in Dutch, so don't be confused. But if you ever have set up goals within Google Analytics, you probably are familiar with the properties you have to set up to create a new goal. A goal should have a name. You can give the goal a value. This can be a value in a currency, or just a value that you want to compare with other values. So, for example, the checkout page is 5 times as important as the contact page. Well, you can give it a value of 2 and 10. Then it makes sense that it's 5 times more important. But you can enter a value here. For example, checkout, we can give that a value of 10. One thing that's different from most other tooling is you have to select what type of conversion it is. You can set it up as a micro conversion or a macro conversion. The difference between those are that a macro conversion are the main conversions within your website. They are the most important conversions, like the purchase of an article. Micro conversions can contribute to a macro conversion, but they are less important. So, for example, putting something in your shopping cart is a micro conversion. You don't get any money for people putting stuff in your shopping cart, but they are important goals to measure. So we can name that a micro conversion, and the purchase of the product in the end, the macro conversion. Also, you can specify if you want the goal to increase or decrease. Normally, sales you want to increase, but the number of unsubscribes to the newsletter is something you maybe want to decrease. Well, you can specify here if you want to increase or decrease the goal. And at the end, you will have the option how the goal is triggered. That can be done by page event or by page view. So if you reach the thank you page, for example, after a contact form, then this goal is reached. For now, we're going to select the page view. And you can use just the Umbraco picker to pick a page. If you're more advanced, you can write a regular expression. But because we're in Umbraco and our package knows the context of Umbraco, it's just something that you can click and point to the correct page. For example, this is the custom page, contact page at this moment, and there's a thank you page. So simply by selecting it like this, you can set up your goals. So no need to know regular expressions, put in custom URLs or something like that. Because we're integrated, you can just pick the node. So also if the URL, for example, changes at one moment, the measurement within the uMarketingSuite will still be okay because we know the context. I'm not going to save this goal at the moment because I've already set up some goals. So we're going to use these at the moment. You have the goal type, and you can also see how many goals are completed for this in the last 7 days and whether it's active or not. Analytics we've seen. So now we can go to the A/B testing. If you go to the A/B testing, you won't start directly with the A/B test, but first with some projects. You can add new projects or select one of the current projects. And the reason behind this is that an A/B test is not something you do once and then you're finished. Probably you're gonna need multiple A/B tests to improve something, and to group these tests together, you can create a new project. For example, a new project like more stuff in my basket is more money. You want people to put more stuff into their basket, This is something a project could be, or decrease the number of newsletter subscriptions could be another project. And within this project, you can create an A/B test but not all A/B tests will be a success. Or even if they are a success, maybe you could come up with an even better A/B test that will increase the stuff in the basket even more. So you're gonna create multiple A/B tests within a project. Well, at this moment the project is empty, and I can start testing if I want. If I click on Create New Test, we come up in the setup screen of the test. I will zoom out a bit so everything is in the page. First up, we want to set up our first A/B test, and if we look at the product detail page, we see an Add to Cart button. And we want people to put more stuff into their cart. So maybe we can change the look and feel of the Add to Cart button so we can encourage people to put more stuff in their cart. Different buttons is the title of the test. It's part of my project. You could select any of the other projects or directly add a new project if you want. Maybe different button colors will increase the number of items in the basket. Always add a description, so after a while you know what you've done in this A/B test, and you can look back at it. At this moment we have two test types, multiple pages and document type. We will set it up as a document type test, but let's have a quick look at the multiple pages. Here you can select multiple pages if you want, where you want to test it on. So for example, if you only want to test it on 2 or 3 pages, you could just select them and set up the test. But for now, we want to test it on all product pages. So we're going to select document type. And when we select document type, we see all document types that are listed within Umbraco. And we want to test it on this type of page. And this type of page is a product page. So we want to apply our test to everything that's of the type product page. We have the original page. That's something like this. And we want to add another variant. We call it, for example, purple button. This moment it was black and white. And here we have the edit button. And if we click that, we get functionality to add in some CSS or some JavaScript to change the look and feel of the page to test it. My front-end colleague was so kind to give me some CSS to create a purple button. Well, something like this. But to test whether this works, we're gonna look at a preview of this page. And there we see, now we have a purple button. This was the original. This is the purple one. We just want to test that. Okay, this looks good. We're gonna save and close. And maybe you want even more variants. You can have an infinite number of variants within your test, but please be aware, the more test variants you create, the more visitors you need within each test segment to say something about the results. Because if you only have 20 visitors a day and you create 20 variants, well, then you will probably have to run this A/B test for quite a while to get some significant data. My design colleague also created a green button for me. And he also gave me that CSS. Looks like something like this. I'm also going to preview that. And there we see there's an orange button even with an icon in it. And we just want to test which one works best. Okay, that's set up. We have our variants. Then we have to select a goal. And this is a bit messy at the moment because I've set up too many goals. But we want to look at view cart page. So if you go to this one and you add something to the cart, you go to the cart page, and we want to test if we change the color of the buttons, will more people come to this page. So we're gonna set up the view cart page, and we can select which part of the audience is included within the test. If you have sometimes a really risky test and you don't know whether it's gonna work, well, you can just put it on 10% of the visitors that will be included in the test. Of course, then you have less data to analyze your test, but that's something up to you. And that's the only thing you have to set up. We also have some advanced settings, but we're not going to look into that at the moment. Okay, we've set it up. We have the 3 different variants. At this moment, you can stop and, for example, send the links to your colleagues so they can preview it as well. And when you're finished, you can start the test. You can schedule it for a later moment, but now we're going to test it at this moment. The test has started. And when we go back to this page, for example, we randomly get assigned a button or a test variant, actually. So no matter to which page we're going, we always will see this button. This is stored in a cookie, and this cookie will also work tomorrow or the day after or next week, and you will always see this variant. But to prove that this is working, I'm going to delete my cookie for a moment. So now I get a new variant selected for me. And now you can see that we've got the purple button. And this is kind of interesting that it still shows this, the icon, but that is the law of Murphy, probably during demo time. When I delete it once more, maybe I will get this one as well. This is always when you do live demos. Here we see the purple one again. And here we see this one. It's a bit strange. And I hoped that I would see the original as well. Yeah, there's the original. I can click on it. Then I put something in my cart. And this variant, the original variant, had 1 goal reached. I'm going to try it again. There we see the green button probably. This one now also has 1 variant or 1 goal completion in it. And we will have the purple variant as well with 1 completion. So by deleting the cookie, I will get assigned a new variant. That is not something normal people would do, but it's nice to test it at this moment. If we now go back to the A/B test and we refresh the page, then you see 2 visitors were shown the original variant. 7 people have seen the purple button, and 2 persons saw the green button. And of these persons, 2 completed our goal that we've set up, namely the view cart page. And at this moment, that's a conversion rate of 100% because 2 out of 2 people clicked on the add to cart page. For the purple button, only 1 person completed the goal. So that's a conversion rate of 14%. And on the green button, it's 50%. Well, and these variants compared to the original decrease the goal. Of course, you have to run an A/B test for quite some time to get reliable results. At this moment, this variant is winning. But if we go back to it in a couple of days and this would be a real website, we would see different numbers that are probably more reliable than this. Because this can be very complex, we've also added in some advice module that gives you an estimation how long this test needs to be running, depending on the number of visitors and the differences in conversion rate between the several variants. At this moment, it's too early to say anything, but at one moment, it will tell you, okay, your test will have to run for 4 more days to become reliable, or something like that. So this is the A/B testing. We will just leave this running, and well, you can start A/B testing within a few minutes if you want to. You will need to have some CSS or JavaScript to set it up, but once you have that, you can immediately start working. But what's even a way more cooler test is the single page test. And to explain that in more detail, we go to the content tree. This is just your normal Umbraco website. Here you have the products, here you have the 2-tier shelves. The zoom thing is in the way, yep. And you can look at that page. You see we're still in a variant. And here we have something that's called 2-tier shelves with a nice image. And also if you go to the detail page, you will see the 2-tier shelves and the image. But maybe some of your colleagues want to test whether a different title, a more catchy title or a different image would perform better. And how cool would it be if you could set up that test without writing any line of code or any need to do CSS or JavaScript? And that's what the single page test does. Here you have all the properties of this Umbraco node. Of course, that differs per implementation. We also have the analytics section. Here you can see the page views of this particular page. So the 2-tier shelves you've seen, or you see that I've been testing on this quite a while. And if we go to the A/B test, we can start a new test. Don't look at this at the moment because this is everything I've tested before, but I'm gonna start a new test. I'm gonna name this test will a different title plus image maybe work better. We're gonna make it part of the product that I just created, and here we're gonna end some really good hypothesis. And here you see that we now have the ability to test a single page. Because we're on a specific page in the Umbraco content tree, we have the ability to do a single page test. And of course, we could do a multiple pages or document type test, but at this moment, we're gonna do this single page test. We create another variant. And now when we click the edit button before, we get the pop-up with the CSS and JavaScript ability. But if we now click on the edit button, we go to a split view visualization. It's something that's built into Umbraco V8. By Umbraco, it's only used for multilingual stuff where you can edit a Dutch version of a page and a French version of the page on the left and the right, but we're going to use it to create variants of this content. Here we have the original content that we've just seen before, and before we've set up 2 properties, name and image, to be segmented. You can specify whatever property you want. If you want to have the price to be tested or the short description, everything is possible. But for now, we're gonna use the name and the image. So for example, our marketer said 2-tier shelves is not really catching. catchy. Let's make it authentic shelves. And we're gonna select another image, this image that really shows how great these shelves are. And we're gonna preview it. Please remember, this was the original. This is the variant where we have authentic shelves and another image. Well, that looks good. Now we go back to the A/B test and even maybe create a third variant and name it even cooler shelves. It's another really good name, but cannot come up with anything different, and select a different image. You also have the option to add in some CSS or JavaScript, but that's not really needed if you don't want to, but it always depends on the properties that you can use on your Umbraco website. You go back to the A/B test. We can select the goal, select the goal again. We want to include everyone. We're gonna go to next step and we're gonna start the test now. So at this moment, if I reload the page, you see that I've been set up into this variant. And when I delete my cookie, you see I'm gonna see the original variant. Again, it's all based on randomness, so I cannot tweak that. And there we have the authentic shelves again, or for the first time. So these are the authentic shelves. It's really cool to A/B test without writing any single line of code. And if you go directly to this page, you will see a different version. But what is even cooler is if you go to an overview page, for example, or you would have related products in the bottom of this page, that you would see these this name and this image as well. So if we go to the product overview, you will see this variant as well. And it's pretty unique because no other A/B testing tool that you've been using before could do something like that. Because that tool could never be aware where you're going to use this image or this title, only if you tell the tooling that. Also, if you go to the homepage, you will also see this. So without writing any line of code, I can start testing the content of my website. And also if I reload this and go back to the A/B test, we can see the results at the moment. There's the test, and you can see that some visitors were assigned this variant at the moment. You could do that for every page you want, and it will always work. Here, for example, we have a page called Custom Furniture, and it contains Umbraco form at this moment. Here you have an Umbraco form. It's really long. And somebody of or the client or one of my colleagues asked me, okay, would a different form maybe perform a better conversion on this specific page? Well, as easy as it was before to add in a different title, we can also A/B test this form, for example. At this moment, we only have a body text and a contact form that we could set up. But you can start an A/B test within a few seconds, different forms. Oh, and it's good to know that we've set up the different forms before. It's part of this project. Yes, this aligns a bit better. So maybe a multi-step form would work better. So we're going to click Edit. We have the form picker here. And if everything works, then we would see some forms here. But now I imagine that's because I don't have any access to the form section. We will fix it afterwards, but normally you would have the ability to pick another form, and you can start testing as easy as with the product page. I'm going back to the PowerPoint. Yes, there we are. So that was a demo. What we have right now, we will give you access to this environment within a few minutes, and you can start playing around with it yourself. The version you saw on the vendor uMarketingSuite was the version of March 1st, so that's almost 6 weeks old, and we've been working really hard to improve these last bits of pieces that you saw in the demo that maybe didn't work perfectly, but we're also building even more stuff. So a few slides on that. In the analytics section, we're visualizing more than only the page views at the moment. As said before, all data is stored but not visualized at this moment. We've implemented a compare function, so you can compare two date ranges and see whether there's a increase or decrease in for example, the number of page views, the types of mobile devices on your website, etc. And you can group them on daily basis, on weekly basis, or even on monthly basis. So it's easier to compare when you have a long date range. We're also implementing smart annotations. Maybe you know the annotations function in Google Analytics, where you can annotate your data. So if something big happens on the 1st of April, or you start a promotion on the 12th of March, you can annotate it in your data. So if you see any spikes in your graphs, you have an explanation why that worked. Well, our implementation is something like this, and it's a bit messy maybe at the moment, but normally it's collapsed and you don't see it right away. But on the x-axis over here, you will see different icons. For example, when somebody published a website, the web page, because if you then see an increase in the data, then you know, okay, we did something different in Umbraco, and that's what explains the spike. But also, if you started an A/B test or ended an A/B test, and all these annotations you will get out of Umbraco without setting up anything. So it will give some interpretation to your graph and to your data to make your life even more easy. The A/B testing, we will polish the last things that went not that well in the demo, and before the release we will have that fixed. But also where we're working on is a split URL testing. And the split URL testing is if you want to test two different pages, which one works best. And the best way to explain that is, for example, on the checkout page. At this moment, it was a multi-step checkout page with 4 different steps. But maybe you want to test whether a single page checkout would work better than a multi-step checkout. Well, with the split URL testing, you just select these 2 pages. You, of course, have to implement these pages first, but then you can set them up, and 50% of the visitors will go to the single page checkout and 50% to the multi-step checkout. So you could test which one is working better, and you're going to use data to tell you which one works best instead of your gut feeling or the client's opinion. And the biggest thing we're working on at the moment is the personalization bits, because A/B testing is cool, it's really cool, but then it's based on randomness, which variant is served to you. But when you go the next step, it's personalization, and you say, okay, this type of people or this type of group will see this variant, and the other type of group will see this variant. And whether it's data, whether it's content, whether it's CSS or JavaScript, everything is possible. So then after A/B testing, personalization is the next logical step. As you've seen with a slight sneak preview in the settings section, you will have the ability to set up a customer journey. We will default ship with the Google customer journey that I can't remember at the moment, see, do, act, care, but you have the option to swap in your own customer journey. Also, you can set up personas, and you can tag your content and all action that are done on the website to create something that's called implicit personalization. Because within the uMarketing Suite, we have the option to have implicit or explicit personalization, or a combination of those two. Implicit personalization is based on the behavior of a visitor on the website, and explicit behavior is done upon actions and data. For example, I want to show all mobile devices this variant, and all desktop visitors this variant. That's really explicit. It's true or false, and that's something you can set up. But far more cool is the implicit personalization. We're working on it at the moment, and as you will see probably in the roadmap, we will release that at mid-June. Because if we're going to look at the roadmap, we're going to release our package that you've just seen on the 30th of April. So it's end of the month, within 2 weeks. For now, you can go to our demo environment and play around a bit with it. Hopefully you can share your feedback if stuff goes wrong, if there's something you don't get, so we can fix that before the end of April, and then we're going to release it, and you can just install it on your own website, your demo environment, and play around with it. Unfortunately, that version of the package doesn't include the split view functionality. The split view was the single page A/B test, and that's because the split view is something we've created and submitted to Umbraco HQ. They got a pull request for that, and that's going to be merged into Umbraco 8.7. But at this moment, we're on Umbraco 8.6. That is the version that is released. And Umbraco HQ doesn't know exactly when 8.7 will be released. Probably it won't be before the end of the month, but as soon as we have a release date for that, we will ship a new version of the uMarketing Suite, and we'll have the split view enabled at this moment. Half June, we have personalization, and after that we go to segmentation and profiling. But more on those two topics in another Zoom session. So maybe for some of you, this was the most important slide because you just want to start test yourself. We've listed two URLs, vendor.uMarketingSuite.com and demo.uMarketingSuite.com. The vendor package is the version of the package of March 1st, so 6 weeks old already. And it's a fork or something like a copy with some new stuff in it of Umbraco 8.7. And 8.7 is the one that is not released at the moment. But the cool feature that is included is the split view. So that's why we send it out at this moment, so you can use that functionality. But also we've set up demo.uMarketingSuite.com, and that is a way new version of the package. So some bugs you may encounter in vendor, you will see they are solved in demo.uMarketingSuite.com, and that's using the latest Umbraco 8.6, but that doesn't include the split view because we're depending on Umbraco to get that merged in. And this demo.uMarketingSuite.com is the default demo website that's shipped within Umbraco. So it's not the vendor website, it's the demo website of Umbraco. Please be aware that we occasionally reset the database of vendor uMarketingSuite and demo uMarketingSuite.com to clean up some of the data that pollutes the database a bit. So maybe if you set up a real test today and you want to have it run for 14 days, probably we will reset the database at one moment and you lose the setup of your A/B test. We do this because some A/B tests will interfere with each other, and then new people can't really start testing. So please be aware of that. The login for the Marketing Suite is demo@uMarketingSuite.com. And the password is uMarketingSuite rocks with an exclamation mark. And please be aware of the capital casing, the M, the S, and the R. Okay. As we've said, please let us know what you think of the package. We need your feedback to make this an even better package. It could be some functionality you're missing, or that you didn't expect, or that behaves in a different way than you expected. Bugs, please send them over so we can fix them. If you have questions or even faults, please email them to info@uMarketingSuite.com, or if we really want to have a discussion, it's best to go to our.umbraco.com, find our package, and ask your question at the forum. Please do, because we need that feedback to make it better. Last week in the newsletter, we announced the pricing. And also it's now on uMarketingSuite.com/pricing. We will have a dev plan that will only run on your local host. But if you have a website and you want to test whether it works, you can set up the dev version, and on your local computer, you can start A/B testing, look at the analytics data, and when personalization comes out, you can also set up personalization. It's free of cost, but only runs on your local host. If the second plan is the analytics plan, that only includes analytics and will run on 5 domains within your single Umbraco installation, and it only costs €50 a month. It's a really good package because it will start collecting all this data that I've just discussed. And if you install it on your website now, we will have far more data when you start A/B testing on personalization, for example, and we can give you recommendation based on the data that you've already gathered in the months before. So that is a really attractive option if you want to start collecting data now, but want to start A/B testing after a while, and you're not ready, or your client is not ready to set up A/B testing at the moment. Then we have the basic, the extended, and the complete version that will include A/B testing and profiling and personalization. And the differences between these options is the number of page views per month that are included. Within the basic version, it's 100,000 page views. In the extended, 500,000, and in the complete version, up to 1 million a month, and also much more domains included. These are the complete versions, and then you can start A/B testing if you want. And even if the biggest plan doesn't fit your needs, please get into contact, and we probably can work something out. For now, we have a discount till the end of July, if I'm saying it correctly. And if you sign up for one of these plans now, you will have this price for the rest of as long as you're working with this plan. And we won't increase it after the end of July, but at the end of July, for new customers, we will increase the prices a bit. So you can sign up on April at the end of April. That's it. I hope I've enjoyed you for the last 40 or 50 minutes.